I think that was a great conversation, right?
That really was
Really important.
very
You,
important.
you are so lucky to be here in order to learn, understand how to be a leader, how to run a business. That's very good. والآن مع جلسة انتظرها الكثيرون بفارغ الصبر نلتقي مع رائد الأعمال الإماراتي والمتحدث التحفيزي ومذيع البرامج المحبوب AB Talks الذي يتناول أجرى الموضوعات أسبوع بعد أسبوع يذكرنا جميعا أنه مهما بلغ نجاح الفرد فكلنا واحد وهو بيننا اليوم ليسألكم جميعا كيف حالكم حقيقة.
Here's a session many of you have been waiting for, including myself, very eagerly. He is an Emirati entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and the host of the viral show AB Talks, where he does not shy away from very taboo subjects with a lot of people in the society. Week after week, he reminds us that no matter how successful someone might be or how famous someone is, at the base level, we are one and the same. We are human and we're all struggling with somewhat the same things. And here he is today to ask you all, how are you doing really?
I like that. I like that.
تحية كبيرة لأنس بوخش.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anas Bukhash.
The stage is yours.
All right. I hope. Tell me if this is it's working. Yeah, it's working. You know, the funny thing is I can't tell anybody how are you nowadays without them saying, how am I or how am I really doing? So it became an awkward thing sometimes. But I think it's also a blessing to be able to ask people sincerely such a simple question. I'm saying all of this before we start, but I think it's really important to realize how one of the most basic, simple questions, if asked with the right intention, how, if you just ask yourself, not even somebody asks you, and you just wake up, like, how am I doing? And you just take 3 seconds to think about it, it's a good question, I think. Okay, so today we're going to talk about what makes you tick. Now, this is a very, I don't know, it's a vague statement. We say it casually, and some people understand it in different ways. So I thought, you know what? First of all, let's try to define what is it? What does it mean when we say what makes you tick? Is it, for example, the tick that goes into dogs and our hair and all of that? Or is it a clock that ticks and what makes it tick and what makes it move? And I think it's a very, very important question that I think everybody naturally asks themselves. So, to give you generally an idea, I'm going to read this out. The definition has many different variables, right? It can be asking yourself what drives you. It can be asking yourself what's your purpose. It can be what's your passion. It can be what feeds your spirit. All of these fall onto the umbrella of trying to find out what makes you tick. And I think this is an ongoing journey that we all want to understand. What is it we should be doing? What is our hobby supposed to be our profession? Are we in the right profession? Are we actually enjoying our job, or we can't wait for 5 o'clock to happen so that we can punch out and just leave? So I think it's an extremely crucial question that we all ask ourselves. So let me help you and help myself. Some of the questions that can help us understand what makes us tick is, what fulfills you? And you should ask this question all the time. It's an ever-going question. What makes you feel valuable? Because human beings, naturally, and I also use this sometimes in the interviews, we naturally want to feel valuable, that we are of value, that we mean something. So that's why, and I love explaining this because we've all been there. Do you know when you're a child, You know, you do something, let's say you do a cartwheel or you draw something, and then you run to your parent and you're like, look. And then they're like, fantastic, Anas, like you're such a good boy. And you feel special as a child. You feel special because your father or your mother just complimented you. So every time you would do something, you feel valuable because they suddenly complimented you. You show them a medal or a drawing or whatnot. So it is in us, it's not optional, that we need to feel valuable. So then you ask yourself, what makes you feel valuable? What makes you feel of worth in this world? When you do it, you feel, okay, I feel good about myself. Another question, what gives your life meaning? So you can see all of these questions in parallel can help you reach something that you should be doing. What makes you tick on a daily basis? And this is so important because if you're not doing something that you enjoy or that you're passionate about, which is your fuel, you'll hate your life eventually. You'll become miserable or you're bored or you're not enjoying it anymore. And it's so important to be doing something you love because I think also Steve Jobs said something along those lines that you have to do something you're really passionate about because otherwise you wouldn't keep doing it because you have every reason not to. Even your friends, even your family will say, why are you working so hard? You know, why do you do this? You don't need to do this. But when you're passionate about something, only passionate people who are doing something they're passionate about will understand what you're going through. And that's when you're working extra hours, you're working late night, and you don't feel it's work. It's not a job. But when you feel it's a job and it's homework and it's annoying, then that is already a flag that you're probably doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Another question is, what is something when you do, you lose track of time? I think this is very important. For example, let's say somebody likes fashion. So you see them on Google, you see them watch YouTube videos, and they're like, oh my God, time just finished. And it finished because you were enjoying it. You're enjoying doing something that it doesn't feel like time. So I think these bunch of questions and many more would help you find what you want. Before I go into this one, I think a very important point is we expect to figure out what we want very early. And this is an extreme misconception and a very dangerous expectation of ourselves. For example, let's say there is a young child at 8 years old, he's a good footballer. His parents realize he's a good footballer, they put him in the right club, and suddenly he became a football star after 10 years. So we would look at that person and be like, wow, look, he figured out what he wants to do all of his life, and it worked out, and now he's a star, or a singer, or an actor, or an artist, or an engineer. But what is the percentage of that? And I think this is very important. That is a minority. Only a very small portion of the world figure out what they're passionate about or what they should do for the rest of their life early. But what we do as people is we start to think that we need to be that. We also need to figure it out now, at 16, at 18, at 24. But that's not normal. The normal is you have to do trial and error. Because in those specific limited cases, those people had a certain environment that they tried something and it was obvious that they were good at it. They had a certain parent or friend or coach that took that talent and put it in the right direction. So everything had to fall in line for them to become, early founders of what they should be doing. But that's where I think we need to chill. It's okay. You'll figure it out if you do trial and error. And trial and error is so important. And for me, I always push people to be triers, if that's even a word. Be a trier. For example, I have a big issue with people who don't try. If somebody comes and says, I don't want to go to this restaurant, it sucks. I'm like, okay, did you try it? No, but it sucks. I'm like, okay, you didn't try it. Try it, then tell me it sucks. Then I'll respect your opinion. Or you don't even meet somebody. You see somebody from far or on social media, you're like, I can't stand this person. They're so annoying. I hate them. They're so arrogant. I'm like, did you try to meet them? No, but they suck. Did you try to meet them? So as human beings, we all do this. We prejudge, we label, we see a few pictures on social media, we judge. We hear from our friends, we judge about a restaurant, about a job, about a human being. We do that naturally. But if we just give ourselves a chance to say, let me try this thing first. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I won't like it. But at least I try. And when you try, then you have every right to make your own assessment and your own opinion of something. Something that also I think missing in the phrase trial and error is that there's success. Because we always say trial and error, and I was just thinking about this when I was doing this presentation very late at night, and I was like, why don't we say trial and error and success? You know, you do trial and error, yes, but why does it have to end at a negative word? Because when you keep trying, by any sense of logic, whether you're 30, 20, 50, 60, at some point something will click, something will tick, right? I think that's a basic logic. So I think by trial and error, you'll end up finding something that works. So, and there's another thing that today I want a lot of people just to chill with themselves, to lessen the pressure on themselves. So sometimes it might be difficult to find what you want, which I think is a general problem or challenge. However, in the meantime, while you're trying, it's a blessing to get to know what you don't want. And this can be in a husband or wife, this can be at work, this can be with food, this can be with your hobby. I think it's important, the more you learn and explore and travel, you start to know what you don't want. So you're like, this country I don't like. I've been there, it didn't do it for me. I didn't like the people. Okay, I didn't like the food, I didn't like the culture. This kind of job I tried. And for me personally, I tried, guys. I really tried. I tried oil and gas, philanthropy, football, building buildings. So I tried, which is normal, and it's okay. You try, you give it your all, and if you don't like it at the end, or you think this is not for me, at least you tried. So I think it is a huge blessing to meet friends and know what kind of friends suit you and what don't. What kind of jobs suit you and what doesn't. Another chilling point is what makes you tick today doesn't necessarily mean it should make you tick later. What works for you today doesn't mean it has to automatically work till you're 95. Passions evolve, passions change, and it's okay, it's fine. And I think this is such an important point that because, for example, also coming back to the psychology of us being human beings, we get attached. So let's say you have a best friend, and you spent many years with this best friend. But then you traveled, let's say, and studied somewhere, and you came back and you're a different person. You've evolved, you've learned, you've explored. And you try to hang out with this friend that you knew from high school, and it's not clicking anymore. And you start to feel guilty. Like, oh my God, this is the person that, we were friends for 10 years, and we can't hang out. And you start feeling guilty and ashamed of yourself. But if we start to learn that, it's fine, you changed, you evolved, and what suited you. It's like wearing the shorts that you bought 20 years ago, and you're like, it doesn't fit me anymore. It doesn't look nice on me anymore. Of course it doesn't look nice on you anymore. So I think this is another thing that we need to be very okay with. So before, my presentations are usually short because I know the attention span of people now is not as long as we want to, although the interviews did prove that people don't mind long form, which is a big compliment. But I like to leave with a question. I like to leave with something that will make everybody at least think. I want to provoke your thought. So, this is the question I'm telling everybody, okay? So hypothetically, but try to think of it realistically. If I gave you enough money to last you the next 500 years of your life. Okay, not your life, but kids' life. So, I gave you enough money to last you 500 years. So that's a lot of money. But you had one condition. one. And you had to choose a job that you do till you die. That's the condition. Think about it. Doesn't have to be right now. Just think about this, and the answer is probably what you should be doing. Thank you.
كل اللي انا اقدر اقوله يا انس، ما شاء الله عليك، كلامك جميل، وفعلا انا محفز بعد ترى على فكره، واذا تبغي تقابلني انا حاضر يعني على اي توكس. بس لا فعلا كلامك منطقي وجميل ويعطيك الف عافيه. I really love that. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the next Spider-Man as well, because I saw one of his videos, he was standing on that exercise ball and he was like Spider-Man. But you did a great job. Thank you, Anas.
Thank you so much for the talk. I think a lot of us get very riled up when it comes to finances that we kind of forget about the thing that we're doing. In a lot of cases, a lot of us feel stuck in our jobs, like he said, and maybe it's time to think, what do we really want? What is it that is valuable to us, and how are we going to feel fulfilled doing that certain job or opportunity? So we don't want to take too much of your time. I know it was a long stretch, but this is why we want to give you a lunch break now. You guys have 1 hour to go and explore before we head on to our next panelists. Thank you so much for your patience, and we look forward to seeing you back here again in 1 hour.
جمهورنا الكرام، بناخذ استراحة بس لمدة ساعة إن شاء الله ولنا العودة، وعليكم بألف عافية.